this morning.
Yeah.
I got it on my
Sorry.
That's a real bell they use in that
No.
too.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
All right, I think we're,
It's like
yep,
4:30.
commissioners, the meeting's live.
All right, well, morning, welcome to the June 5th meeting of the Riley County Commission. Please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jake Manson, interim Riley County Counselor. Just would ask that we add an executive session at the end of our agenda today for personnel matters.
Okay, we have one now. Do we add another one?
Yeah, it would be an additional.
So it'd be number 25.
Oh, yeah,
One's never enough.
No, of course not.
not these days. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we add an executive session for matters of non-elected personnel at the end of this morning's board agenda.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to add an executive session for non-elected personnel at the end of the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Commission comments.
Okay, well, actually not a lot going on the last couple of days. I had a couple of long days at work Tuesday and Wednesday and caught up there, but my body's asking me, what the hell are you doing? Feeling a little tired this morning physically, so maybe it's a good thing, bad thing, I don't know. So Tuesday had a phone conversation with Ogden Township Treasurer Marcy Guyver on a concern involving speeds and traffic over on Rover and 80 roads out by the airport. I think you got a letter or something there, yeah. That's coming an ongoing conversation. There's going to be a FedEx distribution center there. I had heard of that. So there's going to be an increase of traffic density in that area, and it's kind of, if I remember right, a year or so ago, we rezoned that from ag to commercial setting. So I guess that's what's going in there. I don't have any issues with it, but it does bring that kind of commercial residential dynamic into play. So there's some concerns with speed. To be honest with you, I drive out that way every day going to and from work. So there's always some issues even out there in Eureka and Wildcat Creek with speeds, because everything's just flat and everybody just thinks that's a dragged strip basically. So something to consider moving forward, though. I don't think that would be a terribly bad idea moving forward. So I'm sure you guys have heard quite a bit about that as well. So Wednesday, I spoke to a constituent down in the Deep Creek area. They have some concerns and issues with the prescribed burn permits and the process, the regulations and securing and usage of said permits. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like this has been an issue throughout the spring, this spring in particular. It's come up all around the county. It's not a connected group that's just frustrated and concerned with this. It's been segregated. So I don't know what we need to do there. I don't know if we need to put together some kind of task force or something, maybe to review that and see if we can is the gap or something. I don't know, but something's off there. And they need to kind of figure that out. So it's a process that works better for everybody, including our administration as well. So something we're going to talk about, but we'll see how that goes. Then I guess lastly, I just was going to give Cayman a shout out for 75 years yesterday.
oh, yeah. that's
Yeah,
right.
given the current nature of communications and just passing of information, it's amazing they've been able to weather the storm and stay on the air with, I would say, pretty quality programming and radio shows through the years. I have a lot of memories, including inclement weather situations like the flood of 93, tornado in 2018 or 2008, the ice storm in 2007, and many different K-State and Manhattan High athletic events. Remember Paul Harvey on the radio, as a matter of fact. Just little things like that, and continue to listen
I
to
know the
it.
rest of the story.
When Jerry Q. Hutchinson was on the radio, every morning before school. Probably says a lot about me, but anyway, yeah. So congratulations to that. I think that's a pretty big milestone, just given the nature of that particular business. So, and that's really all I've got.
Okay. Let's see, Monday after, our meeting, I went out to the Flint Hills JobCore facility. I'm on the board of the workforce, one. And I met with Deb Schreiber of Workforce One of the Salina office. And they were meeting with students in the administration building to find out their status and where they need to go when the facility closes this week. Everybody was in an uproar. And I don't know what the new closure is now, but anyway,
I heard
it's back and forth and back and forth.
I heard late last night, the judge put an injunction on it, so I don't know what that means,
I
but
don't know either.
there's a stay at least until the 17th is what I read.
Well, that's good. Well, they've had 137 students.
Yeah, I don't know.
137 students out there, and they were just quite a few of them were just ready to take their GEDs, for their jobs that they've got set up, and then several were ready to test for their dental assistant jobs, and the government shut off funding for that too. So Workforce One came up with some funding to do that. They were also trying to determine which students needed housing and where. For students that had a home to return to, they're going to take them by bus the following several days. And then people in the Manhattan community, of which numerous groups were working, found housing for students that didn't have a home to go to. And then Workforce One is working with students that need local housing, and they have money to do like 3 months rent and deposits and all sorts of things like that. Process still ongoing, with some students still in limbo. And I did get an email late last night that they've got about 9 more students that need housing. So I've got to follow up on that and see what we can do for those guys. It's really, all this is due to these cuts by the federal government, Department of Labor. I don't know what's going to happen to that facility out there either.
Did we ever figure out who owns it?
Well, I looked it up. You're right. It's the US government, and it's Department of,
Labor?
no, I think it is, but it's listed some division of, I wrote it down at home and I forgot to print it, but it's on the website.
Okay.
You can see. And I've got, like I said, I have
I
that.
toured out there last May. After I left, I meant to ask that question and I'd forgotten to. So.
Yeah, I saw Bill Kennedy last night, and I was going to ask him because he was involved in that as county attorney, but the place we're at was too loud and he couldn't, we couldn't really talk. So I told him I'd call him, but they know how it was set up. I don't know if they want to revert it back, if they're going to revert it back to county, maybe. Who knows what they're going to do? Because it's sad if that would just go down the tubes. So there's a lot of good building.
No, United States of America Technical Assistance.
That's it.
Group.
Technical assistance.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
that?
Technical Assistance Group. Oh,
Was that Doge?
I just,
But that's how
that's
the,
just what it's listed as.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I don't know where, I guess Department of Labor is working on it now. I know it's something that's
Probably
chased
under the
down.
Department of Labor. When you get to the
That's
federal
who's
level, there's
leaking all this.
so many different tentacles.
Yeah, so we'll have, that's ongoing, I guess. So it's, most of the staff was going to be let go, this week. So I don't know if they'd put an injunction on that or not.
Well, I think they've got to stay till the end of the month,
Yeah.
to the 30th. I don't know what's,
Some of the people were kind of crying out there. They're gonna leave the next day.
Yeah,
I don't-
I've heard conflicting.
Nobody,
I mean, I know somebody who works there, and they were let go, but now they're asking to come back.
Kind of like him back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like MBF, I think. So it's a mess.
well, nobody really gave it any thought
and
as
that's
to
the-
what kind of ramifications there'd be.
that's the challenge with that. When you just pull the plug on something and don't look at what the impacts are going to be, then this is what you come up with instead of taking a kind of focused approach. I mean, I understand if outcomes are outcomes, and I'm not so for sure that data is correct, to be honest with you, either. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe there's some places around the country that are struggling more than others, but
This one has always done.
this one has done a pretty good job. They've gone through some peaks and valleys in the mid-90s and the early 2000s, but have really done a good,
Yeah.
COVID, everybody struggled with
I was
that,
gonna
but
say, I think I
uh,
heard the graduation rate prior to COVID was like 68%.
Yeah.
It was much higher than
yeah.
the alleged 30, I think they
Yeah.
stated in their facts.
Well, even if it's a program that's having problems, you just don't pull the plug and throw everybody out of work and out of their places that we're living. I don't
Basically,
know,
what you
it's
do
just-
when you do that, you're just throwing it to the local end, whether it's public or
That's
private. and
exactly what's happening.
Nobody's equipped to be able to take care of that on a dime.
No, it's just
That group's
Well-
under the Department of Treasury.
Really?
interesting.
It's strange.
Well, why is the labor department? Well, I guess the labor department's under treasury.
Because the treasury's financing it.
Yeah.
Actually, they all get involved.
And
Right.
you see what happens.
From Treasury or something.
Yeah. Well, our community is really good. You know, we've got a lot of people that jumped in and is helping, and they've got
As per usual.
Usual, yeah. So that's wonderful, but you know, that just solved the problem. But anyway, that was most of Monday and it's still going, going. Tuesday had a water PT session, a committee meeting at church, and an appointment with a chiropractor. Followed up again with Workforce One and several community leaders on this JobCore issue. Wednesday, I reviewed today's meeting agenda and documents and followed up with some phone calls and emails. I did attend the Westlake Business Association meeting yesterday afternoon. The guest speaker was Jason Smith of the Chamber. And he spoke on growth and development in the area, mainly growth, which included PTMW, which is being built behind the former McCall's building.
It's built
Oh,
already.
it's
They're-
built already. Okay,
It's
that's
a
that.
speculative warehouse, and then they're just gonna kind of redesign the space for their usage.
I guess he was saying 146 jobs will be there around in the 60,000.
They're from Topeka,
Are they?
so they're local business investing. Needed an outside place to do some new research on some stuff and decided to come to Manhattan. Glad to have it.
And then he also talked about potential warehouse building in the industrial park purchased by Amazon. And then he took several questions from the audience. Later that evening, I attended an event for the Kansas Senate Democrats hosted by Tom Hawk at the Union Train Depot. That's where a big gathering of, that's where I saw Bill Kennedy and good people. So anyway, that's it for me.
Also quiet. Tuesday evening was the Leonardville City Commission. Couple announced the changing the North County officer. It was a sergeant and they're changing it to a lieutenant. And Lieutenant Weisbrod is coming back. He was the head of North County as a sergeant, and then moved on and was back in town. And now it's and promoted to lieutenant. Now he's coming back out there. And then they also had been contacted by that Make My Move group that the mayor had been
Oh, okay.
contacted by him about that. He didn't have much information. He said he's supposed to have a Zoom with them.
Yeah.
Later this week. And then yesterday I got another call about nuisance abatement project we're working on. I'll talk to Jacob about it later.
Fun.
Brian had been working on it and I'm not sure where it is now. It's one of those, a process that can't be done immediately, but unfortunately. And that's all I've got.
Ready for business, commissioners? First item, need a motion to approve contract agreement with APAC Kansas Inc. Shears Division, up for the 2025 by 2 minutes. Chip seal in the amount of $168,504.31.
I was trying to figure out the pronunciation of that word.
Huh?
Bituminous.
That's 10 different people, you get 10 different pronunciations.
That's
I was gonna ask the professionals on that one, so.
Steve, how do you?
Asphalt.
bituminous. I think that's it, bituminous.
Well, I wasn't gonna put it in a motion, I guarantee you
Geology
that.
class. you know.
All
I too know.
right, well, I'll go ahead and move to sign and approve the contract with APAC in the amount of $168,504.31.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to sign and approve the contract with APAC in the amount of $168,504.31. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair, please sign in several places.
I think bituminous is that volcanic rock?
No, that's asked.
It's asphalt,
That's,
bitumen, yeah.
Why did you just say asphalt?
It's got some sort of rock.
You public works people try to make it complicated, don't you?
Is asphalt the trademarked term, like Kleenex?
Oh.
I don't know, but if it isn't, I'm sure gonna go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
You need to Google it maybe. Like, bituminous, yeah, it's gotta be bituminous.
Thank you.
Full stack of tabs there.
Next, commissioners need a motion to approve loan agreement with KDHE.
That's for what again?
University Park.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Too.
Yeah, it's part of
Okay,
Wastewater lagoon project.
we would make a motion to approve the loan agreement from KDHE for University Park wastewater lagoon project.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the loan agreement with KDHE for the University Park wastewater lagoon project. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Oh, goodness, you've got a big one
Yeah.
there.
So that's sitting over there. Anything
Thank you,
KDHE,
KDHE.
they like lots of signatures.
This is all public work stuff this morning. What's going on?
Lot of stuff going on.
Okay. Good answer.
Wouldn't guarantee I hit them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try and, I'll try and.
Try.
If not, Cindy will double check both of us.
Yeah. Okay.
While I'm missing. Next, commissioners need a motion on the recommendation for the reinforced concrete box quote.
Go ahead and make a motion to approve the recommendation for the reinforced concrete box quote.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve recommendation for the reinforced concrete box quote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Need a motion, commissioners, for the bid recommendation for the equipment purchase of the 7-passenger van.
First Kia to our fleet, huh? Okay.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the purchase of a 7-passenger van from Kia.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of the 7-passenger van from Kia. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, commissioners need a motion on tax roll correction, and as you can see, Steve is not like Evan and bringing good news all the time.
Back on these, we never usually get good news.
The only good news is off of the voter list.
That's true. That voter list
Yeah.
is shortened up
Yeah.
quite considerably. So yeah, props on that. I'll go ahead and make a motion then to approve the tax roll corrections as listed.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the tax roll corrections as listed. All in favor?
Aye. Chair, please sign. Commissioners, we have a couple topics for intergovernmental luncheon. I think Vivian did, Greg had sent out maybe a suggestion for a second. I didn't know your thoughts on that. Or if we can just leave it at Amanda with a comprehensive plan update.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. That's fine with me.
What were the other ones? I'm sorry.
Vivian had suggested possibly Stephanie Peterson on the city of Manhattan's housing analysis thing. It's a couple years old, but
I've seen that.
I think that's more of a city county, and that needs to be discussed. And I think that's more of a city county.
and she was just thinking, given the timing of the hot topic of the day, I think is what she was thinking, but it's whatever the board wants.
When is that meeting?
Monday.
23rd. The intergovernmental's on the
Oh, yeah.
23rd. The city county would be on the 19th, but that's a holiday, so I don't think we'll have that.
Yeah.
Oh, the intergovernmentals.
We'll have our RHID before then.
Yeah, and there's gonna be another task force meeting at some point in time too.
School board at their last night.
Yeah, I saw that.
There was one dissenting person.
Yes,
That's-
sometime in late June, early July for that. They sent out a doodle poll on that. You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So just leave it with the comprehensive plan, Commissioner,
Yeah.
update from Amanda.
But let's put that other topic on the city, county, maybe for July. I just say that because I don't know that that's pertinent to everybody else in the room. I'm not, you know. Food and Farm Council is probably not really concerned about the housing study.
They should be.
Well, I mean, that's more of a interest of the two counties in the city at this point in time, in my opinion.
Is that what the board wants at the city county meeting, the presentation on
Yeah,
the housing
that's
study?
fine.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any changes to the minutes?
No, okay, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as written from the June 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Board of Riley County Commissioners.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the Raleigh County Commission June 2nd meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tentative agendas, look, Commissioners?
Because you got RHID on Tuesday and Thursday. Are we gonna
Should
discuss
be-
it once and then?
Yeah, it'll be on June 9th. We have the developers coming in, and then June 12th will be for the decision.
When we make
Okay,
the
I was gonna
decision?
ask.
Okay, that's what I just.
I was gonna ask the same
But
question. Yeah.
I just saw it on there twice. Want to make
Yeah.
sure what.
Unless, of course, you guys could always make a decision on June 9th as well if you choose to.
Okay. Any items for next week's press conference, Commissioners? Not yet. Elizabeth Ward at 9 o'clock, Human Resources update.
I did notice on today's agenda for Russell, there's nothing on the staff update.
He's bringing me copies. They were fixing their computers on.
Oh,
Oh, because of the move. Okay.
Yeah, we couldn't get it to fit.
Okay. I'll let that one go, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah, sure.
you got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
6 to be exact.
I'm kind of alone in here. Where'd everybody go? I guess I should go. Hi.
Buenos días. So did you? No. But they drove 3 of them. Yeah. And they have two used Explorers, like no miles. I mean, one has less than 2,000, one has like less than 700. Which sounds really good, but I wonder why. Why do you, like, one Vegas? Why do you have more than one? What's wrong with the Explorer? Yeah, I had an Explorer. I had an Explorer and I loved it, but it's a long time ago. And none of them have like the whole fancy package that mine has, because they changed the package benefits or whatever. So I found a really nice car for you. It's a MacArthur. It's a 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, whatever it is. It's super, super nice. It's a Lincoln, it's a SUV. How many seats? I don't think it has the 3rd row. So it's a car for me that he wants to buy, but it was 54, but it only got 10,000. But it was sort of, that's that whole entire electronic dashboard, passenger to. So just the most basic stuff, just literally like up and down buttons for the heat and the cool. And I was like, oh, and then you don't know what temperature it is. But, yeah. Does it really mean temperature? I mean, it's like however I feel. Yeah.
I mean, looking at it, it'd be like 64 degrees, that makes me perfect.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it did look weird, like kind of like, oh, no, but. I don't know. I drove a Traverse, which drove like a farm truck. I told the guy that he laughed out loud. I'm like, well, it drives like a. Oh, but it drives like a Tahoe. Just.
Getting rid of yours.
He's paranoid that it's gonna. Go to hell. It seems like it's. Maybe about this. He was getting my oil change yesterday because the bulb strip we could do it ourselves. And next year. Yes. Morning, John.
Morning. Ooh.
We've been trying to match.
I almost wore my white top.
Okay, yeah. I like your sweater though. I mean, I like a jacket, but lately I've just been feeling like being comfy. My sweater's comfortable.
My are here at work, and this is all I had at home, and I was like, good, just gonna wear that.
Interesting to see what we can make out of this basketball team this year.
Well, in theory, and I say in theory, the talent's pretty much a pretty solid upgrade.
But I can't find.
Sounds like it, and I think so is the coaching too.
Yeah, yeah.
Cardigans are like super colorful.
And that's what I think needed to happen.
We needed the X's and O's
Well, they had them, but they were.
more so than just the recruiting, but
I want that class.
we traded, one guard to Memphis and picked up probably a better guard, or at least more experience. And these 2 kids from Europe are supposed to be really good.
One guy played at the pro
Uh-huh.
level at Europe, and it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's
Great.
tough leagues.
That makes me want to ask.
We gotta get the chemistry and cohesive.
Oh,
Maybe they'll be looking for a big guy, maybe.
yeah, I hope
Yeah.
that doesn't wear off.
That last-
Yeah, that's good. The longest commute I've ever had was like 25 minutes on highway.
The funding
And,
people said no,
I mean,
Oh, really?
80s,
yeah, it
13.
wasn't great for me, but
Because
also you do
That
stuff.
house.
Listen to your podcast and,
Players.
you get like for me, I get the news and whatever.
everything.
Way to jam out to music. Yeah.
Couple slices.
But I did listen to.
Semi-reliable.
Not a fan of this new system.
No.
Look, got the little hardcover book, yeah.
Dampers my enthusiasm.
So it was fun.
Yes.
For history of the world. It kind of just is like the kids version of the snippet version.
It's like every really
Yeah.
is-
Although it was really interesting, I was hearing, because it was, I was like 1930s. I think when he wrote that.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
When he ended it, you could tell that he was basically already produced World War II and all that.
Yeah. You could see it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good. So you did an audiobook on that?
Yeah.
Mhm. I've got a new audiobook on my list. I haven't purchased it yet, but I want to listen to the previous prime minister of New Zealand.
Maybe rain tonight,
So
tomorrow.
he's like the youngest woman who's ever been in a leadership position like that. Actually had a baby while she had children, chicks, which is unusual. You know, because you're not usually that young. Okay, good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources, and I'm here for our monthly Human Resource Update. As you know, our purpose is to drive the goals of the Commissioners and Riley County through people, policy, and process. And here are our numbers, kind of start with the hard numbers. So our current head count is 285 in our regular staffing. We had 6 hires in May, 20 over the year. That's just the 2025 numbers. 4 separations, and over the year, 18 separations, which does include all of our separations. We talked about last year kind of pulling out, and I did pull out the retirement for the turnover rate, but they're still listed in those separations. So that pulls our turnover rate to 16.8, still a little bit higher than we might like to see. So something to look about there. And our average tenure then to 9.56. Now, I do want to tell you, as of today, actually, as of yesterday, this number is wrong on openings. We actually have 0 current openings that don't have an offer outstanding. So it's literally 0, and we're really, yeah. So the only thing that are on there are evergreen positions like the volunteer fire and those things. So I was really excited when we were doing our staffing, the HR staffing yesterday, to go through that and double check that. So, yeah. Performance and development. I wanted you all to know that right now we have 2 applications only for the leadership and the NACO high performing. Vivian did send out a reminder. I think you guys are on those emails that go out to everyone. So she sent out a reminder this week. She's the head of that selection committee. It's a 3-person selection committee. So we'll continue to try to boost the department heads to think about who would be good for those training programs. Our supervisor training the highly effective managers just has June and July left. So we're coming to the end of a full year there. I'm excited to have some of those participants come and talk to you about the value of that. I would like to ask you to support it again for another group of employees, but I know, at least in the past, I believe you'd like to hear, some of the people who've participated and what they've got out of it and what maybe the teams have got out of it. So
We already approved that.
you approved NACO and Flint Hills leadership. This is the one that we've been doing for a year monthly, the highly effective managers.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we've got a group of 12 supervisors doing that for the year. And I think overall it's been a really good experience, but I'll let them talk to you about that. The employee day is actually coming up Monday. So they're doing their presentation with
Oh, no.
oops. Vivian.
We signed out. Oh, AIs.
Yeah, AI's got it covered.
So you've had enough.
Do you want to try to
time.
call either Vivian or IT? Don't.
I'll call Vivian.
Okay.
Good
thanks.
heavens.
Yeah. They don't, they're right there.
I'm gonna call her.
Let me
Okay.
know how I can
Time out.
assist you.
I'm out. Pause.
Quit turning off the Zoom. That's how you can assist us.
Do you want me to type that in?
Yeah.
Did you touch up there?
I touched nothing.
It's
The
a
mouse.
mouse.
The mouse.
All of a sudden, it just keeps been said.
Machines.
This is it.
Oh, sure. I can
It
try.
might still be on.
Live.
Yeah, we're still on.
Okay, so just make this small.
So should she just?
Look down the bottom.
We'll just do that.
Okay. Well, sorry, everybody. That was a strange interaction. Okay, so back at it. Employee presentation. Will be coming. Steve and Tandy are the co-chairs for that. So they're really excited. They'll have a proposed budget as well as a tentative agenda. And then Michelle and her committee are working on that phase 2. They will have a proposal to you in July. She's going to, she just sent out an email to the department has yesterday afternoon. And so they're doing a quick kind of spot survey to kind of gather information from most recently onboarded, and then they'll have some proposals to the department heads and to you. We do have the KCHRA supervisor training on June 12th in Salina. We have 14 of our Riley County supervisors really across the board registered for that. And this is usually a really good hands-on, very supervisor level, not high level management or leadership, but really a how-to day. So I think that'll go well. And I already mentioned to you that we're working on some ideas, and David Adams just came this morning as well to talk about his ideas for the performance reviews. So we will try to see what we can bring about that. Medicare Basics. So we are partnering with Extension, and that's on June 11th. So we're hoping that those who are retiring or potentially retiring within the next 5 years will attend. We've got both a 7:30 a.m. and a noon. So 2 different areas and 2 locations for that. And we're really excited that Extension is able to do that with us. I think it's going to be really a great opportunity for our employees. Retirement is kind of one of those things that the employers aren't necessarily responsible for, but it's a huge step in everybody's employment life cycle. And so it's awesome if we can help people feel prepared for that. 2025, we do have our open enrollment benefit set. It'll be Tuesday, September 23rd, and we'll have 3 locations and times for that. That you may, if you're thinking about the calendar, you may realize that there is another event on that date. Russell and EM have a 3-day training on that same date, but we weren't able to, we were assigned the date. So some department heads may not be able to go to this. We will record it. It will be available in the W drive. So anything that they want. And then of course, Michelle's always available, as well as the people at the state. All right. So by the numbers, we actively recruited for 5 open positions in May, which gave us 7,500 or 7,600 visits. We had 172 applications, and then 13 hires. And the reason that number doesn't match above is because some of the hires are actually like from the previous month that they get into the system on the date. And so this is, straight from Paylocity by the actual month date. All right. Our average time to fill, 57 days. We had 12 interviews, 13 onboarding events, which we estimate take about 17 hours. And we did 27.5 employee relations or mentoring. So those are meetings that we have with supervisors, generally supervisors, department heads on issues on how to best handle maybe a personnel concern. It also could be directly with an employee, but not necessarily FMLA or a medical reason. We had 6 compliance events. We delivered 5 performance actions, and we updated 6 PDs, just reviewed and updated for some of the departments. We are excited that we have 3 new CDL drivers. So these are current employees who have passed either their learners or their full permit. So with the program that you approved, working with Public Works, we have 2 really new programs that are working with them. So we've got the training program and then the driver DQ, which ensures compliance. And we're still there's a couple bugs in the process, and we're kind of hammering out, just exactly how to be the most efficient, but we're seeing success. So I think that's really great. Those are all 3 in Public Works. We have been asked to review the travel pay policy. So I have just gathered some information from other counties, and we'll discuss that, as there's a proposal made, take that to department heads and then to you. Still working on the filing system and transferring the fire department personnel files. Not much left up there except those items, but still some files. So any questions or things that you'd like to see or not see in the future? Alrighty, great. Thank you, commissioners.
Elizabeth. Next commissioner, you have Daniel at 9:15. Morning, Daniel. How you doing?
Good, well.
Good.
So that's crazy.
Grab on down the words. That starts to hurt after 6 weeks.
Oh my God. That's nice. Me too.
Yeah, when was the last time you wrote your license?
Yeah, never.
Oh, so no, the percentage. We'll do. Hillsborough, the market races. I've had a training club. I would stay. I gravel back on.
The Royals called up their top prospect.
Well, they did. I was hungry.
Well, the Central is actually a pretty strict conference this year, division, I guess, but they're in fourth place. But they're only like
Congratulations.
4 games out from second place. That's how tight it is.
Wesley has an electric bike.
Is there any update on what they're doing with their stadium?
No,
It's funny because.
last check, they're looking at and trying to contract with the property over where the Sprint International used to be over in Overland Park. So it would be on the Kansas side, but legislature said they're not gonna use star bonds to do it, so I don't know how they're gonna finance it yet.
So Legends things is off now.
As far, at least for the Royals, it is.
Officially.
But
Well,
the Chiefs are still.
I will say. It was terrible.
Philly and Kansas are still fighting over who can give them the most money.
And it was talked about that the ownership of the Chiefs
Made down.
wants
Professionals come.
a roof or retractable stadium at this point in time too, so.
That'd be kind of nice.
Always about the money.
20 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour for.
You know, it is nice, but it's not, because if you watch.
Yeah, I don't think we will.
No, that's on there.
I mean, I'm sure you haven't seen
But
Wesley in a really. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is-
Especially when the warm weather people, you can bet on that almost every time in adverse.
Well,
weather.
but
We played
once
the
again, money
Dolphins in
talk,
like
it's
-8.
not about, that, it's about the events that it can bring in.
Mhm.
About maybe
that's
potentially getting a
I'm
Super Bowl
about
to
winning
Kansas.
football.
That's.
Well, I am too, but it's about getting potentially a Super Bowl to Kansas City or a Final Four or, you know.
It's in Kansas City or not, I still can't afford it, so.
That is, you bring that up, and I remember when we played the Dolphins and it was like -12 out. And I wear like a chipped Mahomes helmet because it was just so freaking cold.
Mhm.
There was one guy or something that like literally like was not wearing gloves and had to have like one of his hands cut off or
Yeah,
something.
There were multiple events where people got.
I saw the video, like
frostbite.
somebody like went to pour out their Bud Light or something and it froze before it hit the ground. I'm like, that's too cold for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, the recliner's awfully comfortable.
Yeah. Fireplace heater. Even if I have to start a bonfire, it would still be better than that.
This is ridiculous. This one's not good. I just threw a bunch of stuff in there and I'm not gonna do that again.
Made like a suicide healthy drink and it's not so great.
Yeah, with all the fruits, peach, raspberry, grape, lemon, lime,
Oh my gosh. That's cool.
and grape took over, but no, we won't do that again. We'll play by the rules.
You ever make those suicide drinks at the fountain?
Yeah,
One of your kids, we thought they were the best.
I did it with some other things besides soda though
I
too.
wonder what that would taste like now.
Yeah, I'm sure it wouldn't taste good at all now, right? But we thought it was so cool.
When you don't do it with soda and you do it with other things, you actually get to a point where it doesn't matter.
Jeez.
Has to be broccoli, ginger, and a smoothie.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I was at an airport and my mom ordered that. It's like, you couldn't get strawberry banana.
just the word broccoli and smoothie just is a turn off, just automatically.
She asked me to finish it. It's like, nope.
Ready?
Ready to go.
What are your thoughts on a broccoli smoothie?
I think I better reserve that to Megan Doherty. She's our health nutrition expert.
Deter the opinion.
Have a lawyer in that. Good morning. I'm back again just to officially submit our appropriations request for Riley County K-State Research and Extension. Last time I kind of gave you an overview, so I'll skip that this morning unless you have any questions, but the highlight of it is we're requesting a flat appropriations to the same we had last year. I think actually last couple of years, which is, where'd my number go? $667,380. So once again, just here to officially submit our appropriations request for a flat budget for the 2026 year for Riley County K-State Research and Extension. Any questions or anything I can answer for this morning while we're here?
You know, if I remember correctly, we've got what, 10 days or something to,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
We could be special and have our own special laws in place for everyone.
Specials, yeah, that's a good word. That's a good adjective.
You have that on the agenda for the board.
I do. I have it already for Monday.
Thank you.
Okay.
On the sign.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, they can.
Is that
We need
as
to-
a car, or is that as a business item?
Okay.
Yeah, that's just his official submission of it, so starting at 10 days, then you will need to make a motion on the next
I
one.
have to approve it.
I'm fine with it. I just trying to remember the process.
Next commissioner, you have Donna Borgardine at 9:30.
Okay. How much did the early in the week rain?
I
Yeah.
got 0.75 at my house. The neighbor just a mile away from me got an inch.
Yeah.
It was more south and,
You got just under an inch.
well, really, I'd have thought you would have got more.
I think western side of town, it,
Yeah. I
Dumped
would have
a
thought
little
you
bit
would have
more,
got
but-
more. Right.
Hi, ladies. I'm sure they got it. You can sit in the front so she can make eye contact. Huh? Supportive. Okay. Yeah, well, you did that thing.
Realize I had quite as gray until.
I think the camera's off.
Maybe some.
Yeah.
We were just looking at old photos in the office. And I was like, oh my, how we've changed.
For the better.
Yes. Some of us had really, really, really blonde hair and some of us had really, 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 really dark hair.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
Did Shiloh look the same?
No,
Oh, no.
no.
Oh, I figured she would just always look like
We
Shiloh.
got one we can't figure out. I think it has to be her.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Like, who is that?
We could name everybody. It's Shiloh. It has to be. If you run the picture. Well, she's gone.
That's cute. I actually haven't heard of that. Or that's a cute idea. And then just not say anything. And wait till she. It's cute. Serves her right. Even.
Left this all behind.
Yeah. With sunny beach. She just left us all behind. I knew that she's one of the trees that we leave her behind.
Fort Myers is in my mind, and that's not where she went this way. Yeah.
My sister's in Mexico this week and can't get it. It's raining 3 days, so I didn't feel too bad for her.
Right. Raining everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I texted her, like, hey, enjoy the sun because it's raining on your farm. And she said, it's raining here too. But I think we liked it better in Nebraska than they liked it. here.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sprinkling out there. I was thinking maybe the weather's having an effect on it.
I don't know.
I'll liven this up for shortly.
Yeah, I'm
Start us off with some jumping jacks or something. Miss out.
That would be memorable. It'd be wonderful. It'd be memorable. No, nobody else that I've seen has ever started it out with jumping jacks.
It's a first for everything.
Have you ever had PE class?
Not in the commission chamber.
Oh.
Wake you up.
I'd love to do that in football practice, you know, instead of up down and the Oklahoma drills and everything else they forced you to do in the middle of August.
Burpees.
Yeah,
And we survived.
I don't know. My body's starting to say otherwise.
Yeah.
Maybe it just needs
Hard
more
to catch up.
burpees.
Yeah.
Maybe we just need more burpees.
Yeah. You might make a good football coach then.
I always hated those, with those suicides, I think they were, where you had to touch and go back and it gets shorter and shorter and shorter.
I don't think we're like.
Oh, I don't know what you call them. Short runs.
Touch the line anymore.
Well, the lazy ones don't.
I mean, they were really.
That's me. I'm like, I touched it. I touched it.
Some of us that don't have a really good reach, those were really tough. That was that Oklahoma drill that used to get me. Oh, trying to move and tackle and catch, you know, basically in a phone booth. That's takes agility.
Ready for Donnie, Commissioner?
Oh, yep, you're on.
Hey.
Liven us up here. Yell at us or something.
Probably not with jumping jack.
Good morning, Commissioner, or good morning, everyone. I'm Donna Borgadine from the County Treasurer's Office. I'm here to request to fill a customer service representative position. In April, we have submitted to fill an open customer service representative position that had been open for several months, actually since last fall in November. We've been notified also of a retirement of one of our clerks in the office, and she will be retiring in September. During our interview process, we have found 2 applicants that were really qualified and that we feel that they would be a benefit to our office. And we would like to request permission to hire both of those applicants now instead of waiting until September, when another opening is. We do not feel that this is going to be an impact on our office at all. The customer service representative position that's been open all year in 2025. This position was originally budgeted as a CRS2, and we'll be filling it with a CRS1 position. The customer service representative that is retiring that has over 22 years with the county. The new hire will be hired as a customer service representative 1 at a much lower rate. Therefore, there's no negative impact on the treasurer's personnel budget if we hire both applicants at this time.
Good, you can find 2 qualified applications. Sometimes you
It's
can't find.
been a struggle.
So that it's,
Yes.
sounds like a good idea.
Yes, well, I'd make a motion to remove or approve the request for the 2 qualified.
That's a good.
How are you gonna report that to Shiloh?
Great openings.
Yeah. Anyway, I recommend approving the request to hire 2 CRS1 employees for the treasurer's department.
I'll second.
Yeah, treasurer's.
Been moved and seconded to approve hiring the 2 candidates for CSR 1 in the treasury department. All in favor?
Aye.
All 3, please sign.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Appreciate it.
The commissioners on up at 9:35. Come on, Russell.
Thank you, commissioners.
We didn't have any long items. We have a lot of stuff on there.
I know, I was
Every
surprised how
10 or
long it was
15 minutes.
today.
It was,
Well, remember, we had a very short meeting on Monday, so.
And what's wrong with that?
This, maybe balance that out. I don't know. No, it's all good.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
It's all good.
Jeans, and I have to get dressed on Monday.
And Monday's gonna be a little bit long too.
Or is it Monday? Yeah.
For me anyway, I gotta go see the doctor on Monday, so those are always long days.
You're gonna have a really long day, huh?
Yeah. Might want to get that fixed, dude.
Oh, it's intentional.
Sounds like something's
Right where I
rattling
left
off
it.
the side of it.
Red Rich.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Rich Ward, Riley County Clerk. I'm requesting to fill the elections specialist position that has become vacant, and we'd like to request it to be filled as soon as possible to train and prepare for the 2025 election. As you can see, under the discussion, some of its primary duties, poll worker notification, that's kind of critical right now. We are starting that in the middle of it because, as you know, we have a lot of them to get on board for the November election because we've got to schedule and do training and mailings. And they work on provisional ballots, clerical and bookkeeping support for the elections division of the clerk's office. So it is a critical position, is budgeted in the 2025 budget. So a request that you approve us to advertise to fill this position.
What refresh my memory, what happened to the current person took a promotion, right?
No, left employment. That's
Oh,
the best
okay.
way I can put it at this point.
Nope.
Pretty needed, yeah. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the requisition to fill the election specialist position for recruitment in the clerk's department.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the requisition to fill election specialist position. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners.
So where are they gonna do training this year?
Well,
So-
training's one thing. Here's where we do all of
I know,
election night
I know,
stuff.
that's-
So yeah, we're gonna try and training, not 100% sure. Election night, we're just gonna jam all the equipment in one corner of the back room and try and suffice them
Get
through
that
the
back
front
there.
doorway hallways and the back area. And so, yeah. Yeah, we'll survive. It's one election.
Fortunately, it's the smaller of all the elections.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
maybe there'll be cleared out some of it where you might have some space to do some staging by then.
Yeah, I don't know. We're not counting on that. anyway.
Well, I was on the interpretation that was gonna be a 3-month process, not 6.
Yeah, all I knew is that you guys are gonna be out of here 6 months.
Yeah.
Anticipated, but yeah,
But-
the staging
Because this
part,
is
I'm
gonna
not
be a
sure.
staging area. This,
That would be nice. That would help us, but yeah, I'm not counting on
I
it.
don't,
We're making other alternative plans.
that's what Michelle had sent that thing out. Some plan on 23rd, she had it scheduled for here, and I sent her a note saying.
Yeah, everyone's gotta get used to the change. Sure, it will take some time. Yeah, Mr. Stuckey at 9:45, commissioners.
Get a minute.
See the email.
I did. We've got other issues with that. I need to discuss with them.
The Russells, they have these spots out front. We get those spots.
Oh, I don't know. You have to talk to Russell about that.
But nice if we did.
Yeah, I have to ask Russell about that. I know
Because then
they
they'll
got-
go back to the city and live permanently.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet they go back to sales.
We don't have to tell. them.
It's true. I'll talk to Russell.
Be nice to have
In
those.
case,
spots.
he's.
Like even for like Tommy said,
Mhm.
we're not in session.
Yeah. I'm not saying.
Okay, I won't either. We're talking quiet enough.
Maybe.
We're gonna have to pack all the stuff we want to take over there. or what?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we're gonna need some boxes of crates or something, I guess. There's a lot of stuff I can get rid of though. Use some
Yeah, it's
bookcases.
amazing stuff that accumulates.
Ah.
Thanks for all your help on that stuff. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. We ain't done yet, but.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm thanking you, that we hang in there.
Yeah. We're figuring it out.
To donate to Wareham, but boy, those are pretty high. That's-
That's gonna be quite the project. You know, they bought all of, Barry's drugstore too, that entire building.
Where's Brett gonna go?
They would not disclose that yet. It's gonna be, it's downtown on Points. They said you could make a far throw with a rock and hit it from where they're at right now. So, but
Oh.
that's all they would disclose. So they're gonna incorporate that entire building as part of this as well.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
Only
it's gonna
40
take a
million.
minimum of 10,000 to even get a founder circle designation. See this?
Mm-hmm.
Whoop, this little, maybe when I'm dead. So I can donate some money for that, I suppose. Is there anybody left?
Sounds like quite a neat project.
Yeah, it is.
They're actually gonna dig out the, part of the basement's dug out, but there's a big portion of it that's not dug out. They're gonna dig out the rest of it.
That
underneath.
tunnel is under there.
I've seen where the tunnel entrance was. It's blocked off, but I've been down there and seen where it is.
It runs under all these buildings. Isn't it?
I forget
point?
where exactly it was connected to.
Oh, might just be points.
Yeah, I do not. Yeah, there's a lot of history down there. That basement is intriguing. It is big
Go down
already.
there.
Give old Blade Mangus a call. I'm sure he'll give you a tour.
I don't know if I want to go down.
Oh, it's neat.
Is it cool?
Yeah, I mean, it's not nice, but you can envision so much you could do with it. There's so much space. It is big. I was really impressed the first time I went down there. I was like, holy moly, you can have some business in there. Are they gonna have like a speakeasy down there? And they're gonna have another entertainment venue down in the basement there because it's soundproof between the basement and
Oh,
the
that's
upstairs. So you could do two venues.
Two venues.
I was telling her they bought the entire Berries store as well, that entire building. They're gonna incorporate that whole thing as well.
It's gonna be a huge place.
And Berries is moving somewhere downtown. They said
You stay in.
they wouldn't say where, but they would say if you
Hmm.
made a long stone's throw, you could hit where they're going to be. So but they're not disclosing the location yet.
Yeah, but one time I thought Barry's building, they were doing something on the upper floor, leaving.
Right.
Leaving Barry.
Now
I mean,
they're
it
doing
wasn't
the whole-
that, but now
They
they got
bought
the
the
whole
whole
thing.
building. That's why it's no longer 35 million, it's now 40 million. And they're anxiously anticipating your donation, commissioners.
Yeah,
You don't need to hold their breath.
yeah, really. Pay that much.
They've got about half of it, 19 point
really?
something.
Wow.
What does it say, when you get half, you start, plan, or
I'm
Yeah.
planning on starting construction in October of this year.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Then once you had half, you can go ahead and get started. Because once people see it, they see something, they're more going.
It'll be cool. I hope it's as successful as they
Yeah,
want it to be.
that's what,
Depends on people that come to town. Mhm.
Oh, and it's gonna be set up super nice for like entertainers that come. They're gonna have like 4 or 5 rooms upstairs to where, they say always a package deal is, they basically get all of the proceeds, the entertainers do, but then part of that is you have to pay for their rooms where they're gonna have rooms where they can just go upstairs after their performance.
Oh.
Just go, and he said, there's very few venues anywhere in the United States that convenient for entertainers, so they're helping that'll look practical. It's laid out really neat. We're so laid out for Christmas parties and stuff like that, They're not gonna try to be a big wedding. That takes 3 days, but that venue.
Thank you.
I say again, 50%, we did a bunch of churches all the time. People do that first, they say, 50% of the money. Start the building, the other 50%.
Really?
Because a lot of people don't want to put money until they actually see something.
You're actually doing something.
Yeah. $45. Yeah. Then start, Russell.
Okay. Morning, Commissioners. Russell Stuckey with Riley County Fire District #1 and Riley County Emergency Management. Have my monthly report for you. Sorry it wasn't electronic, but I didn't have a computer from Monday and Tuesday till.
Can operate off the cloud, man.
I could have made it work on the lap. Well, I don't know
It's
Yeah, I
actually
don't know if I
on
could-
here, but
if I was well versed enough IT wise to get it done on the laptop, so getting to
It
know.
wasn't on there.
But
for me,
anyway, fairly normal month for us. We are getting back onto the mobile command post upgrade CIP project. Been waiting on KCOM to be able to get back to it. They let me know yesterday that they're gonna be able to get back on that, and hopefully we'll get that CIP project wrapped up. Where I've been working with KCOM. We have a cache of handheld radios that the Homeland Security Council bought that we house that we get to use. The advantage we get is we get to put our template in it along with the state template, so we can use them for local stuff such as parades and when public works and different agencies need more radios for public events like that. We have it, and we have all our talk groups in them. But their primary purpose is if there is a disaster, we can deploy them out to, the tornado in Westmoreland or wherever that they need more radios and need to all be on the same frequencies and talk groups. And so that's took a little work. It's one of those deals where basically they're little computers and they needed upgrades, and Motorola's they're old enough that Motorola's about to not support them anymore, but they're still work perfectly fine. So we needed to get those upgrades in before they quit supporting them so that we could use them for another 5 or 10 years before the Homeland Security Council would theoretically have to replace them for there's not quite 20 of them, and to replace them it'd be $3,000 to $4,000 a piece. So yeah. So for $500 we upgraded them. The Homeland Security Council upgraded them, and we just had to pay for programming. So and then we get to use them. So, anyway, that was kind of a little deal, but the other thing as I mentioned in the intergovernmental meeting the other day, and I think Elizabeth mentioned earlier, we have a training that we're getting to host September 23rd, 4th, and 5th, G2300 Emergency Operations Center. I can't remember the last words of it, basic operation course or something. So that's a training course that, not only for county staff, but, city staff and other agency staff that may need to send a liaison or representative to any emergency operations center, whether it's K-State's or ours. And, we've invited K-State to attend to function prior to, during, and after a disaster. And so, that could be anything from HR to finance to the appraiser's office does our disaster assessments for us, goes out and looks at buildings and so just to get that basic knowledge of how EOC should function and what each individual's role would potentially be in that EOC. And obviously, we only have a staff of 2.5 people in emergency management. And so we can't operate at 24/7 for, a few days, let alone a couple of weeks, after a big tornado or something. And so we need other people that are well-versed and help make that function properly. So if you can help get the word out and encourage others to sign up for that, again, it's September 23rd, 24th, and 25th in the new EMS training room. So that there'll also be other agencies, city, county, and then it'll be opened up to other counties, assuming we don't fill it up. So the sooner people can register for that, the better. And again, it'd be anybody from any department that may need to send a representative, whether they send 1 or 2 people to the training, and then who their designated people would be. So that's being put on by KDM and outside instructors. So the only cost to us is the use of the room and any refreshments we might provide. Been working with John and Corey to facilitate our move out to Konza, the old Konza space, and we're definitely not all unpacked yet, but we are in there and have functioning phones and computers now. So and can print and now print things. So so we are there now at 2030 County Road. I don't know if that has a if that's got a suite number or,
No,
Sure, there's a room number, I'd imagine.
well, we have multiple rooms. We have a room.
I don't
all-
think it does.
I don't know, all the different exam rooms, we have, none of them are as big as our storage room we have here. So now we have a room for boots and helmets and a room for structure coats and a room for pants and a room for wildland gear.
It'll make inventory a lot easier.
Well,
Kind of odd.
Yeah.
yeah,
Really odd
a
layout.
lot of triangle shapes.
I know, yeah, that's what I remember.
Mhm.
So, like I said, we aren't unpacked yet, so you might give it a week or two and then stop by and visit us. So the other things I was gonna mention is, our planner, Robert Cox, who's back with us again and who was with us previously. We've been going hard and meeting with a lot of different department heads, reviewing a lot of plans and doing a good job. I think I've got good feedback so far with department heads that he's met with and doing a good job. As you know, we've discussed Senate Bill 199 with the fireworks, and I just talked to Jacob about it yesterday about going ahead and getting that done, that we didn't have done quite previously. So I think Jacob's on that and be looking at that here shortly. Obviously, we got our new administrative assistant hired, Mackenzie McGinnis. She's working out well, and we're fortunate that our previous administrative assistant still works for the county, and so she can, and now she's right upstairs from us, and so.
That's right. That is right.
Employee in this,
Yeah.
huh?
Well, Diane's been great to work with, so, when I left, Michelle was sitting beside Mackenzie and showing her some other stuff, so that's worked out well and making it a much easier transition. Of course, Mackenzie was here for a week and then we moved her, so.
But you're kind of stuck in the same building with David at the moment, though. too,
Yeah, for a little
right?
while,
Yeah,
but
okay.
he's upstairs, we're downstairs, so. Um. I think that's, oh yeah. Station 110 in University Park is just almost there. Our guys, volunteers have got the bathroom built, framed, and then we'll have the plumbers come back in and get the plumbing done. We're just waiting on Evergy, or no, I think Evergy has completed their power supply line, and we're waiting on the electrical to get hooked up by the electrical contractor, and then we'll probably go ahead and move in once that's done. But the water line, I think Evan from Public Works said that they're ready. They have all the approvals back from KDHE, and they're ready to go out to bid that water line project and sewer line so that we can get those hooked up. And one of the issues is that's going to run through the driveway. And so our dilemma is, do we put the driveway in and we go ahead and move in? I mean, it's just going to be gravel. But then they're working on the water line and we have to pull the trucks out. And so that'll be our dilemma. Depending on how soon they'll get the water line in, we may wait to go ahead and move in until that's done, or we could move in ahead. That we're still playing that part by ear. And then there's some dirt work to do to get the parking lot halfway level and it's sloped properly around so it can actually be mowed and stuff like that. So that part of the landscaping, other than some parking, wouldn't hinder us from moving in, but we're hoping to get that done shortly too. And so maybe in the next couple months, we can get a ribbon cutting scheduled for that. Then obviously we're working on our new software, fire reporting software, getting it up and running. And then staff has been meeting with the Rock the Plains event planning meetings, and not sure how that planning's really going, but they're having meetings, so. And
It's like
with-
in the final hours of that, aren't they?
Well, yeah. But I know a lot of the traffic thing is still up in the air with, 24 the way it is. And yeah, there's a lot of questions there.
Really?
And then at the end of the month, I took a week of vacation, so. Any questions on any of that? And the other item I have is a out-of-state travel request. As I mentioned to you before, there's the APCO conference and they've asked me to kind of be a presenter, be on a panel. And for doing that, I would get the conference registration free and be able to attend the rest of the conference, any of the educational sessions. And then I leaned on L3 Harris and I got them to pay for the lodging. And so the only expense would be transportation to and from and meals. If that was acceptable to the commission to allow me to attend that conference and be a presenter.
Fine with me. Yeah. Okay, make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request for Russell Stuckey.
I would second that.
Been moved in seconds to approve the out-of-state travel request to Russell Stuckey. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Any
Another
other?
question?
Yeah.
Are you getting Rs on the vehicles?
Yes.
Do you have one on yours yet?
Oh, yeah. There's been one on mine for,
Has it?
I don't know, 6 months.
Okay. I knew it was probably, you can get them all, but is it?
Yeah, like all the new trucks that we,
I knew all the new.
the new
yeah,
trucks
I
that we
know.
just got, when we had them in the shop, they put a blue R on all of them.
Oh,
And so just as trucks go into the shop for stuff, I
oh,
figure we'll have them, put them on and instead of just making a special trip,
yeah,
especially some of those trucks from way up north and way down south
right.
aren't all that fast and aren't all that fun to drive. Up and down the highway, long distances in particular.
Yeah, those big trucks look cool going down the road, but big trucks generally aren't a lot of fun to drive, old ones.
Right. Especially the military ones.
Oh, yeah.
With the great big tires and they tend to
And
kind of
drift
wander
little
around
bit.
a little bit, yeah. So. Any other questions from me, commissioners?
Next commissioner, you have Amanda Webb at 10. Thanks, Russell.
Yep.
And then it's the Jacob Hansen show.
It sure is. For Amanda.
Stretching a lot. I'm pretty awake today.
That moving wore you out,
It
didn't it?
did, I'll tell you what.
And then luckily for me, you're following me out to that campus. And so
Yeah, we'll be next door.
next time I'll just walk across the creek.
Yeah,
Probably no water in there, huh?
there's a bridge.
Yeah, there's a
There's
bridge.
There's a bridge, yeah.
But yeah, it's flowing this morning a little
I'm
bit.
sure.
Was it?
Not a lot.
Probably flowing a lot more after tonight.
Is there,
yeah.
we're gonna have another big storm?
Some rain. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's gonna.
Some rain. I don't think it's supposed to storm too much, but another chance of rain tonight and in the morning. It's raining right now, actually, a little bit.
I bought plants. I can't even get them in the ground.
Oh, what?
You know, I just.
Let's use hydroponics. It'll work. Put some rock down and let the water do its thing.
Yeah, I really like it.
I am okay with this nice Washington weather.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're from Seattle. You're used to this.
This is beautiful.
I like it.
Oh, it was sprinkling. Yeah, it's definitely sprinkling. I mean, I went over earlier.
I'm kind of not used to having my windows open in June.
I know, it's amazing.
Problem is do we pay for that later?
We're gonna pay for it in September and October. That's what's gonna happen. I continue to say our seasons are about a month off, though.
They seem,
Mhm.
That's what it turned last week. One night we turned the furnace back on.
Yeah. I had to turn
Really?
the defrost on a truck the other morning going to work. I mean, it was 46 degrees.
I'll take it. Amanda?
Oh, this can.
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director, here with Planning and Development's monthly staff update. We will talk a little about Keats because we always like to do that. It's always stuff to talk about. So everything's going okay funding wise. We're doing what we need to do to get, documentation into the various agencies and keep that moving along. I do want to mention that there are several folks who have asked about the possibility of paying their portion of the USDA loan ahead of time, basically, so they avoid interest.
I have a couple of messages into USDA staff because really that's something they need to tell us how that works. As I'm sure you can imagine, they're a little short-staffed over there, so I haven't been able to get a response yet, but just want to let you know, still working on that. In the email message I sent to the committee or the district residents yesterday, I let them know I've received your questions. Here's what I'm doing. We're just waiting for some input from the states.
I'm assuming they're gonna have to work with them to figure that out.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
thinking too.
They
so
probably need to put in an inquiry. I'm just assuming as well.
This maybe directly
yeah.
themselves or whatnot. Okay, yeah. Yeah, hopefully I'll get some input from USDA here shortly.
I'd be surprised if that's allowed.
Yeah, I would, yeah, I would have no idea. So definitely want it to come
Might
from
just want to
them.
put the
So.
money away and draw interest on.
Their time to pay it off is when they give us a special assessment. They give 30 days to pay it off.
Right.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what they're talking about.
They want to pay it off now. That way there's
Right.
no other
Yeah. They
fees
don't
added in between
interest.
now and when we get to.
Get there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that timeline isn't that long. I mean, it's next spring.
Well, it's yours. It's the
Oh,
40-year loan.
The
from
40-year loan,
USDA.
They want to pay the
avoid
40-year
it.
assessment off is what one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah.
And to be honest with you, there should be a process to do that.
There is.
Yeah.
30 days
Right.
before it's over, but not this early.
Right, yeah, yeah, not quite yet, so. But yeah, anyway, I just had wanted to mention that I have heard from several folks, and I, Commissioner Ford, you had forwarded Senator Starnes, I want to say.
Yeah.
He had that same
Yeah.
question, so just want y'all to know that I've heard that from a variety of folks and just kind of.
And in talking to him, he's had like 4 or 5 people reach out to him on that. So
Yeah.
same question.
So as soon as I have more info, yeah, I'll get that out to everyone, so. The other thing with Keats we're working on and we've been talking about are the easement documents. And that was also something I included in the message to the district yesterday. The majority of property owners out there are already aware of the need for easements. EG consultants have managed to meet with most property owners. There's about 10 that they haven't been able to, either people aren't answering the door, there's some sort of locked gate. There was even one they were asked to leave. Of course, they, did what they were asked. So there are a few folks who might not necessarily be aware of the easements yet. The 15 property owners that need permanent easements, all of them are aware. They know that this is coming. So at least the ones who need permanent easements are aware. Every property owner is going to need a temporary easement, of course, for us to, and when I say us, the construction and various people to get on site to do the work, essentially to decommission their septic tank, and then of course hook up the new lines to their home. So everybody will need that. And then again, there's about 15 property owners who will also need a permanent easement. So that information we're working on. As we talked about, we're having Charleston and Wilson give us information for legal ownership so we can make sure all property owners sign the documents. We need every legal owner to sign the documents. So we're working on that. And as we talked about, that's going to add a little bit of time, but it's the safest way to do it. And we're not going to bump up against any kind of funding agency deadlines. We're still well within those timeframes. So no concern with that there. So, but that is what we're working on. Again, I sent an email out to the listserv, the list that I have, which is not everybody, but generally they talk to each other. And then I'm also going to send a letter out here soon to every property owner, just giving them a heads up. Here's what's coming, be on the lookout for, here's why, et cetera, et cetera. So that'll come in the next couple of weeks. And then when we have the easement documents ready, we'll of course communicate again, and then maybe organize something where we go out there and, kind of help have that resource, because that'll need to be notarized. Of course, we'll have it maybe where we'll have all that information and resources available for folks, kind of in a group. We'll kind of see how we want to do that to make sure people are aware of what they need to do and why and whatnot. And then just making sure they're aware if there is a delay in their signing, or if they don't want to sign, what kind of impact that might have on other people in the project. So we just need people, they might not like it, completely understand, but just understanding the importance of, what we're doing here. So as always, more to come, but we are moving along just fine with that. Anything with Keats before I move on? Questions or comments? Comp plan update, we had a good in-depth discussion about that, I think, last week, but just a couple of more things to add. We are on the City of Randolph's council agenda for next Wednesday. So Adam and I will go out there and talk with them about, getting the input from them, and also talk about their designated growth area. So we'll be able to do that. We're still doing, the subcommittees are meeting. I have 3 this week that we're meeting to kind of finalize some of the draft goals. So we're going through with that. And then I had a really nice conversation with Catherine Hensler last week about historic preservation and cultural resources. That will, of course, want to have some information in the plan. So she's provided me a lot of helpful resources and input, and is still working on some other stuff to give me. So lots of good stuff going on with the comp plans. We're moving along with that. Rural Economic Development Advisory Board, REDAB. Of course, we've been meeting monthly, and again, I thank all of you for meeting with us and giving us input on direction, what you want to see the committee do. They are also working on the economic development draft goals for the comp plan, and then they also want to. They talked a little bit about it. I'm still kind of waiting for them to let me know what they need me to do. But they want to basically get some regular time in front of you folks, maybe a monthly little update or whatnot, so they can tell you kind of what they're working on or what they've been talking about, or, the ideas they have. And then, of course, get that input from you folks. So I'm working with them to kind of coordinate, when they want to do that, who from that group would be kind of the rep, if you will. So that is definitely something they expressed interest in doing, kind of having that regular time with you folks, kind of like a lot of the other groups do. So that'll be coming up. Just kind of got to figure out what's going to work best for them. So Solid Waste Management Committee, we did our annual review of the solid waste management plan. If you folks remember, I got all of that transferred to KDHE and already received our official approval. So we are good for the year. So we'll get back to our annual review next year. Still working on getting folks signed up for the fair booth. I have a few slots left. So if any of you are interested, I'll give you the information and you'll come to the fair.
Judging bakery, the two kind of don't mix, so.
It's the timing, you do one first and then anyway.
Well, this one happened first, and that's not the sequence of that typically.
Yes, I think
Not
judging
it.
food would be better. But no, we'll get our shifts filled and we'll be at the fair again. Everybody's enjoyed doing that over the last couple of years. So, and we're working on our committee website as well. So LEPP, the Local Environmental Protection Program grant, we are pretty much wrapping up our SF 2025 or SFY, I guess it is. 2025, the 50,000 we were given from KDHE last year through the end of this month. We have one more applicant that we are expending the remaining funds on. We're not going to be able to cover all of it, of course, but it is a good chunk because it is a full replacement that they will need. So we're working with them on that and we'll get that taken care of. And then the second application window that we had opened that closed at the beginning of May, that we got this third applicant through. We also got 2 additional ones that are income eligible that do need some assistance. So what I talked to the state about, it's very well, they can't 100% guarantee it yet until, of course, the ink is signed, if you will, but it's very well guaranteed. I don't want to say guaranteed, very well possible that we will get the SFY 2026. So again, they had to wait to hear about what their allocations were going to be, and pretty much everybody who applied will get what they asked for, at least a good significant amount. Some people asked for 100, we asked for 50, so we should get our 50. And so talking to the state, what we decided to do with the 2 other income eligible applicants that we got that weren't as pressing, the one we're helping is dealing with surfacing sewage. That is a #1 public health issue. So we prioritize them. The other 2, again, are income eligible. So we're just going to bump them to the next round, like automatically bump them to the next round with funding, which should be later this summer. So they won't have to reapply. They won't have to do anything more. I just can't yet allocate money to them that we haven't officially been granted from the state, basically. But they're aware of it. I've talked to both applicants. They have a little bit of more of information they have to give to me. They're working on it. And again, we'll just roll them into that next round when we get that this summer. So that grant, I mean, it's been a lot of work, but I think it's, and yes, I would love to help a lot more people than we have, but we've actually been able to help, you know, a lot of folks. They're the one that we had to do an Elgin for an alternative system. That was quite a sizable chunk of money. They had been dealing with a failed system for a long time because they could not swing it. And really, if it wasn't for this grant, you know, they would have had to get kind of creative. So yeah, it is work, but I mean, if we can help anybody, that's still what I'd like to do. So so I'll keep you posted on the next round there, but we've already applied. So we just are waiting for that official. Wrap myself up here. So with the short-term rental regulations, we are taking that information to our Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board and our Riley County Planning Board next week for work sessions with them. Everything goes accordingly and they don't have any concerns with what we're proposing or any major changes. We'll have public hearings in July. That's all part of our standard procedure to do code amendments. So we're going along with that. Let's see, the other thing you folks had asked for that I wanted to touch on was you had wanted to talk about or have a presentation on our different wastewater systems. And Ben and I have been talking about that, and he's putting a little presentation together for you folks, but I wanted to check in if there's anything specific you want to see. We're kind of planning for a 101, if you will, kind of a basic overview of some of our different systems, when they're kind of required, if you will, you know, based on soils and acreage and all of that. Again, just some basic information. I didn't know if there was anything more specific you wanted to see, or if that sounds good to you, to just kind of have that overview and then leave a few minutes for questions or comments that you might have. And then of course we can always bring back something more in depth in the future if you'd like, but just want to make sure, you know, that we're kind of approaching that how you want us to with this first session, if you will.
That's fine.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so that's everything I have with my staff update, unless you had any questions or were looking for more information on that or on anything in there. Okay, so the next item I have is an out-of-state travel request for the Installation Innovation Annual Conference in Monterey, California. It's going to be later this year in late October. Jana Williams from the Flint Hills Regional Council had sent an email out to several of us in the region, kind of announcing this opportunity. They have a discounted rate through their organization that we can take advantage of. And just encouraging, you know, again, regional folks to attend. I guess they had several folks last year, and it was beneficial for folks to attend. So wanted to bring this to you. What I have in there in terms of the cost to attend is a maximum. I am doing my best to get it lower. I think I was surprised by how expensive the flights are. I don't know if something's going on that week, because one like completely different from one day to the next, but again, trying to see what I can do to maybe get it a little bit cheaper. So that's why I said maximum, this is what I'm finding, but trying to kind of do a little looking to see if I can do less. But either way, even if it's this max amount, planning and development budget could cover it. There's no concern with that. And I attached, again, Jana's email with a little bit more information, and then also some information I got from the actual website for the event. There's a lot more on there. You know, didn't know that you wanted me to do a single thing in the packet, but just some of the highlights I included there. And the website address is there if you would wanted to peek at it too. So.
It's like a good conference. Does look interesting. So.
Yeah.
Any problem? Okay, I'd make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request to the Installation Innovation 2025 Annual Conference for our planning director.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the out-of-state travel request to the Installation Innovation 2025 annual conference for planning director. All in favor?
Chair, please sign.
Thank you.
Rest of the morning is the
Yeah, I got you.
I'm trying to come up with a song for this, but I don't know.
I got a funny story about that. And my last name's Hanson, of course. So the Hanson Mbop song.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
not doing
so
that.
the funny story with that is that at one point I did a little bit of military training, and I had a drill sergeant come up to me and he's like, what's your last name? And I said, Hanson, drill sergeant. And then he goes, like that band? I was like, yes, drill sergeant. And he's like, sing me a song. So I had to hum something. I was like, you don't want to hear my singing, drill sergeant. He's like, I don't care, hum me something. So I did that, and it was absolutely awful. But anytime you ever think of a
Be
song,
more awful than the original.
well, I think it might have been, but
We don't get to hear it.
Case in point.
no, we do not get to hear recreation. Oh God, no.
The chairman kind of equals a drill sergeant.
Yeah. So, admin session, I got a couple things that I want to bring up. First and foremost is recently we got the contracts from the second connection to the from Pot County to they call it the Big Blue Study. Manhattan Planning, gosh, what I can't remember.
Flint Hills MPO.
Thank you. Can't remember what that was.
Metropolitan
So-
Planning Organization.
There it is. So we got two contracts from that individual. One was for the second connection from Pot County to Riley County / Manhattan, Kansas. The only issue with this, yeah,
Second connection cost benefit analysis.
right? So the only issue with the contract that I've found, and it may or may not be an issue, is that it doesn't necessarily define what this is supposed to accomplish. I mean, it just states in the contract that they're going to perform this study. I mean, you all have been advised pretty much what that study is going to contain at this point. And time certainly at least has been told to me that it is of the essence. And specifically, I asked Jared, what that was, or why is it needing to be rushed? And he says this timeline is basically dictated by KDOT. Yesterday, the proposals were supposed to be due to KDOT by 5 p.m. And KDOT wants to have the consultant under contract by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Before they could do that, they need to have both this agreement, and then there's also a letter of intent, which was the second agreement. And the second agreement is just, like I said, a non-binding letter of intent that says, hey, we're going to fund, and that's the US 24 corridor study. So they have those two agreements. So where that leaves us, or where I would ask the board, do you want me to go ahead and just have you guys sign that agreement as is without including like a scope of services or what that study is going to contain? Or would you like me to go back, work that into the agreement?
Well, I was under interpretation, those are technically two different things.
Those are two different things.
But it's just, we have to kind of reroute the funding mechanism because KDOT isn't going to fund the second connection cost benefit analysis study.
Yes.
I want an acronym for that, but I can't come up with one.
That's correct, but it's two separate agreements, and I'm only talking about the letter of intent that's non-binding. That one's fine. I don't think there's any issues, and that conforms to what you guys have agreed to already. It's the first contract with doing the second connection study that doesn't have an explanation of really what the goal is. It's just saying they're going to do a study. So I can add it in the contract, but that's going to take some extra time. The city seems okay with without having that scope of services in there, but they did point it out. And then, of course, Bernard Irving, who's the Potawatomi County Councilor, says he's going to talk with his clients on this issue too. So we're a little bit in limbo, but I know, again, we're trying to get this thing out the door. It's what the commission wants to do at this point.
like I say, it's been a vague thing to begin with, they're just trying to see what's available, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, more or less.
So in that case, we just keep with the spirit of how it's been so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, I will let them know, and that way I can have these submitted as a business agenda item to you guys, so it can get executed on our end ASAP. So at least we're not going to hold everything up. Next, I think Russell, I was going to talk briefly about the resolution to get in front of the board for the fireworks. I know obviously that's coming up as far as widening the time frame in which we allow the sale. And then, of course, we're increasing the permit fee from $25 to $100. I'm going to be putting that resolution together here real shortly to accomplish that and get that in front of you guys. And
We did that already.
no, we haven't done the resolution as far as I'm aware. We haven't done the
We
resolution.
discussed what we wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
Formal.
And we had
Right.
somebody fill out an application for that time frame. Didn't we? The sell fireworks?
I haven't heard anything if somebody's filling out or not.
Okay.
This was, of course, something a little leftover that I've taken over
Yeah,
recently.
gotcha.
So if that may have happened, I'm not
We're
aware.
gonna extend the time.
Yeah, and that's what it said.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember the specific dates, but we're just extending it. I think it's like June 28th.
27th to 28th.
Yeah.
July.
Yeah, it's July.
July 4th, yeah.
Right. And I have it in my notes, what exactly, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's it, but I just gotta put a resolution together for you guys and get that done. Then, like I said, I know it's coming up, so expect it soon. I do have a brief update just on Cora and generally regarding House Bill 2134. That's gonna be effective July 1st, 2025. Mainly, of course, this is gonna be changing some of the fees that we can pull when doing Cora requests. That has to be in line with actual costs. We can only use staff time that would be necessary in order to grab the information. So you couldn't have an attorney and charge attorney time for a task that could be done by an administrative assistant, right? So they've just made that clear. That was kind of already a rule, an unspoken rule, but they've just made that into the statute now at this point. And then the statute requires that we provide an itemized statement of costs when requested. And there's a couple other additions into that law if you'd like me to go into, but I plan on just bringing it up to department heads during department head meeting. Just let them all know kind of what to expect when we receive Cora requests moving forward. As far as anything else during my admin time, I'm open for questions, but I don't have anything else on at least this point. All right. My next one, 10:35.
No, it's.
Oh, yeah, now I have the notice of public hearing, right? Now, of course, the commissioners already talked about this. This is for the Peterson Ranch Benefit District. We're redoing essentially the notice portion, and we've scheduled a hearing date for June 26, 2025 at 10:25 a.m. And this was done because we needed to make it consistent with just what we had in internal policies. And so once you guys approve this notice, we're going to publish it and then mail it to every property owner so they have sufficient time prior to the hearing date on June 26th. So we would just ask that you approve the notice as written so we can get that going.
I'll go ahead and approve that the chairman of the board sign the notice of hearing for the creation of the Peterson Ranch Street Benefit District.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded, the chairman and the board, chairman of the board to sign the notice of hearing for the creation of Peterson Ranch Street Benefit District. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign. Commissioner, you have Mr. Hanson up at 10:35 for the tax abatement resolution.
Excuse me, 22-A, singing of song.
I play music, I don't sing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
We're giving you some time to warm up.
Well, I take that back. I have done some singing, but usually alcohol's. I don't think I'll be doing that here. Everybody likes a good karaoke night. For some.
We had that as one of our events at one of our annual clerks and election officials
Oh,
associations. And
really?
David Lamb in particular, who's a long-term county clerk, but we have some clerks that can bust a tune. David Lamb was one of them, but there were some that you go, oh.
Like,
Yeah,
where did this go
I have
from?
none of that talent. They were amazingly good. David's really good. I've heard him sing before.
That's fun. That's a fun one. I'm surprised you to get too many people up there to do it. I feel like
And
people.
he
need to
is
do
a
that.
band.
Oh, is
He
it? Yeah.
is a band. Yeah, that's amazing how talented some people are that I am not at all. In that regard.
Good. Never done it in public. We had a group of friends that got together a few times.
Yeah.
One of them had that just basement, so not too many people.
Yeah. Yeah. Rich, you mind if I grab your ear for a quick minute or two?
Mhm.
Just enough. Since I didn't hear you.
Numbers. And some of the things that I just redid the number.
Oh,
Just.
are you- Okay, so the one that Shannon still had it,
Yeah, I believe so.
because I know Rich had emailed me this morning because it still said Brian's name on there, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But they updated it, so it doesn't say it anymore.
Okay, good.
Oh.
Yeah, that's likely, and all the numbers are still the same.
Sure.
Good, but.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
This is my copy?
Yeah, you can
Cool.
keep that, yeah.
I told Cindy, I was like, that's the tough thing, like, because in minute track, I just duplicate items and then I just update the attachments on it. And so I didn't double check the name. I'm just like, done.
I mean, that would take a lot of time if you had to verify literally everything that gets submitted through there. That's not fun. Another thing, I gotta fix this break and should be administrative services.
Has it always been like that?
I have no idea, honestly. But
I mean, I don't think you can control that.
yeah, well, it's our like,
Yeah.
maybe. You know what, actually, I don't know if Bennett Track does it.
It's that.
No.
Jacob, what branch of military were you in?
Oh, so I did ROTC, the Army ROTC for a couple of years, but I was doing that. I was doing full-time work at the same time, and then also full-time school. So my grades weren't super great, and I still wanted to go to law school. So I made a decision that I just needed to pull back from something.
Mhm.
And so I decided to just pull out from the Army stuff. But it was a really good experience. I got to learn some really interesting stuff. That event I talked about earlier was they had like a 1.5 leadership training course at Fort Knox. And so I did that. And that was pretty interesting. My drill sergeant was previously a Marine.
Uh-huh.
He spent some time in Fallujah, so he was pretty hardcore.
Uh-huh.
But it was a memorable time for sure.
Hair was probably shorter then.
It was a lot shorter. And razors were not my friend. My facial hair grows a little too quickly, so that was not fun.
One of those, you can grow a beard in 2 days.
Yeah. I mean, it's like every morning I have to get up and put the shaving cream on and just go as fast as possible. And yeah.
My son-in-law, we just moved to Missouri. He's the same way. Just, yeah. His hair, you can watch it grow on him,
Friend in college, I swear. One day you'd see him, next day you'd see him, he'd have full beard. I mean, mine, I could go 3 days and nobody knows the difference. Really, except for this, I've got just a few scattered whiskers on.
Sure. Yeah.
That's why I leave this. This is the only place I have to shave every day. So I don't.
It's like, yeah, might as well just leave it there. Yeah. Yeah. No, I had
4 days. 4 days. That's my limit there.
4 days.
We're out pretty good in 4 days.
Dad at 5 o'clock shadow by noon.
Yeah, mine too.
Think about
I go without.
Fully doing the no shave November this year. Seeing what it looks like.
Good luck.
Schedule is starting.
It's gonna drive me nuts, but.
After Friday, I don't shave again, and coming by Monday, then it's starting to blend in.
Problem is there's more light than dark now, and that drives me even crazier.
Well, that's, yeah, mine, what I do get is light, so you can't even see it, so.
Yeah, I've seen a couple gray hairs starting to poke through on mine.
Just wait.
Yeah, it's funny. I got to mow a yard for the first time in like, it's gotta have been 15 years yesterday since I
Already?
like lived in a place where I mow the lawn.
But there's a key to that. This is actually your own lawn, correct?
Yeah.
Well, probably last time it wasn't.
No. Well, I'm renting, so technically.
Well, everybody's technically, so it doesn't really matter on
There's
that.
probably 2 lawns in your neighborhood you could mow.
There might be.
Yeah, well, I got somebody. But
Yes, you do.
if you want to do it for free, that'd be great. I've got a mower, a nice mower.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I guess that settles that.
I tried, yeah. Save you some money.
It was interesting to do it again.
So fun, you might want to do more.
Yeah, it's
Practice.
Start a business.
it just gets really hot. I'm busy. Obviously I'm the interim county counselor. I ain't got time.
Excuses.
Well, if you need somebody, I found somebody pretty good in the neighborhood. But
Yeah.
it's not cheap.
Well,
I mean, it wasn't really expensive, and I mean, I took bids. I got the best one.
you took bids.
Yeah, you have to do that.
10:35, ready to go.
Sure thing. All right, commissioners, before you today is a resolution regarding KSA 79-1613. This statute, it's pretty well explained in the car, but the statute is to allow counties the opportunity to abate or grant an exemption of taxes, property taxes to landowners who have a destroyed or partially destroyed building or structure. The statute itself doesn't actually require the county to use this tool. It only allows the county to utilize this tool, likely because the legislator had a pretty good understanding that, property tax abatement should be a county by county issue. And it's based upon the budgetary restraints. And that's why in the statute itself, it allows the commission to find that the abatement of taxes will cause budgetary restraints and then therefore deny any sort of applications. And so what this resolution essentially does is find that because Riley County has about 40% of the appraised evaluation exempt from taxation already, any additional exemption wouldn't certainly cause budgetary restraints. And so this way we avoid having to process applications. Landowners are also now aware that they don't have to go through the process of doing applications. We're just stating a statement here by resolution saying that we're not finding that this process is beneficial for the county, and that it would cause budgetary restraints. And that's essentially the purpose. You guys can repeal this at any time if you want, of course, by resolution, or you can modify it at any time as well. So if you have any questions on the resolution itself or the process, I'm here to answer any of those questions.
Just on the wording, you scroll up.
Yeah.
it just. No, on the actual resolution,
Oh,
the first line says something fourth.
yeah,
KSA
KSA 19-101 fourth.
Fourth, that just part of the
Yeah,
thing, oh, okay.
yeah,
What if
they
all the
have.
numbers and that is written out, if that's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's the way the statutes are written. For some reason, I don't know why they decided that organizational structure, but that's how it's
That's
referenced.
how it works out. This,
101/4.
usually they're all numbers and letters and nothing's written out.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think they must have had an idea of 19-101 and then A, and then they're like, oh, we need another category on
Oh.
this. So that's how that was.
And that's a fourth category, is that what it's?
Usually, yeah, that's why it's separated out. In that
I think
manner.
that has to do something with just tax law and structure.
There's a
within the
once and a
statute.
twice and a third and a.
If you really want to read something to put yourself to sleep, just read state and federal tax law.
There you
Not
go.
everybody can do all that, but
Well, let's say I would make a motion the board approve the resolution as presented.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, the board approved the resolution as presented, all in favor?
There's another one down there, 1912 to the 6th.
Yeah.
All three, please sign.
Yeah.
1, 2, 6.
To the sixth.
Rolls off the tongue kind of odd.
Next, commissioners, the Jacob Hansen Show continues at 10:50.
Gotta
We
make
need to
half an
wait
hour
for
segments
anything?
here.
What's that?
Said we need to wait 10 minutes.
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
that's
For
the
the-
No,
I don't.
Well, we got executive sessions anyway, so it's not.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy to move on forward if you guys like.
Yeah.
The one good thing about being recorded, if someone wanted to see it and felt they missed it, they can see it, you
I
know?
mean, you see the crowd showing up.
Yeah.
Well, we can unlock the doors and let them in if you
Oh,
like.
okay.
Oh, they're all locked,
On this one, the memorandum that was submitted had some typographical errors. So I redid the memorandum. The numbers are all the same.
Oh, okay.
But I just suggested, Brian's name to look on some of it and some of the references. in there. So I just wanted to give you guys a clean copy that way you guys don't get confused if you ever look at this again.
Do I have to?
Only if you want to.
Weeks, yes.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Man.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
So mainly the things that I want to bring up in the budget, this, obviously I presented this a couple weeks ago. There's been some things that have changed since then. So really what I want to highlight for you guys is the changes that I've made to the budget since then. A couple of the changes is an increase in lodging. This is just due to the fact that I plan on involving myself in more CLE and certain trainings, just to kind of get better up to speed on certain things and take advantage of the opportunities. Secondly, and of course, the lodging is pretty consistent with what we have held previously, not this year in the budget, but the year prior. It's relatively the same amount that was requested. And that's going to be a continuing theme with the rest of the increases that I've done, is essentially following what we've had in budget year 2024 as opposed to budget year 2025. One reduction that I am making here is in dues and membership costs. Previously, we were having, my Oklahoma bar license being kept up, but frankly, I don't think that's necessary. I have no intention to practice in Oklahoma for hopefully a very long time. So I don't think we need to pay that. I'll just put it on inactive and we can go on from there. And consistent with the lodging reasoning, we're increasing, of course, training and registrations. Again, increasing the levels consistent with our 2024, which is at $1,300. Again, just because I plan on using those opportunities as much as I can. And then lastly, the last change that we have is in technology hardware. Again, increase the levels consistent with 2024. And that's at 1,200. I've kind of identified what I think our office needs to upgrade as far as that technology hardware. I still need to talk with Corey to see what his opinion is, of course. But there is a computer and screen in our conference room that isn't operating as well as it should, and certainly would not want to use that in any sort of court hearing that performs as poorly as it did then. So those are just the changes from my previous budget presentation.
Thanks, Jacob. You'll be sure to change them in the budget development worksheets appropriately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and one other fact that I probably should let you guys know, at least the total change from the previous presentation to this presentation is $2,500. That's the total increase.
Yeah, I changed it this week on.
Just want to be sure it's the
Yeah.
easy thing to miss.
Yeah.
A lot of numbers. Thank you, Jacob. You commissioners want to proceed with the next one, or you want to wait?
Go ahead to executive sessions.
We have other people.
Nobody's here for it yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, participants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patiently wait.
Well, I'll
Or impatiently wait. Either one.
Yes.
And then Jacob, do you have the wording for the
These-
last one?
Yeah, I have wording.
The one you added?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll give that one once we're done here. and then
Yeah, no problem.
we'll get it.
Oh,
There more? Oh,
yeah. One of you.
there you go.
On this one, how long are you gonna go?
That's up to the commissioners on how long you guys want these to last.
Yes, nice to meet you. Pleasure. Yes, absolutely. What needs one of them?
You know that, I don't know if you got that. The thing I've always been talking about on that RHID is, the roads and stuff.
Jacob.
How's it going? Yeah, tell two Jakes, right? Yeah, you prefer Jake, Jacob.
Jacob.
Okay. All right.
So, and are you hopefully for Jake?
I'm a Jake.
Exactly.
I tell people the last name like mine, they'll respond to this.
Pardon me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good identifier.
That's right.
Nobody's answered that question.
So right now we're just waiting for executive session.
Jacob,
time.
did you determine how long you needed?
Again, I leave that up to the board on how long you guys want.
I was thinking at least probably half an hour if we needed
Yeah.
to
30
go
minutes?
longer, we can go longer.
30 minutes and see.
Yeah.
11:35?
Yeah.
Well, Jacob, did you still want two session?
Yeah, we're still
You
gonna,
wanna send
we're
both
gonna
at
do,
the same time?
we're gonna do two.
Okay.
We're gonna do two.
Oh, the first one, yeah,
Do we want,
I don't remember what. Under,
I only had David in the first one and then Jacob only in the second one. Did we want both of them on all both?
David,
Like having.
I don't,
David and
My understanding is, at least from talking with Cooper, that Cooper would primarily handle this issue.
yeah,
And then I would handle the second.
Yeah.
So,
I was thinking,
and I see there's no need for the overlap.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure Cooper's gonna wanna cut out, if he can, just leave me here, so I'm happy. to do
okay, yeah,
Sounds
we'll go that route.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
so we just need clarity. So we're just gonna.
He's the second one.
Okay.
David's not here yet for the first one. Barry's gonna be part of both of them.
Yeah,
no, he's probably trying,
So
he'll probably only get here when.
He's, yeah. No, he said actually,
Lelandberg.
okay,
he said that, Barry said that his morning was.
that's right, two Jacobs.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Jacob, how do you spell your last name?
B as in boy, IELEN, B as in boy, ERG.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, right now, he's not included in the first one.
No.
So I was going back, I couldn't remember, I've gone back to your email to have how you. I couldn't remember what order we were doing these things.
That's fair. My thanks.
Yeah.
I like this. All of this portion in here.
If I'm more on the.
You got my email number.
So it's 11:05, right?
Yeah. David's not here. And Barry.
And Barry,
And
yeah.
Barry.
And Barry. I'll got the, on this, for the light. I'll refine this.
Yeah. but-
Okay, once I start walking. Oh, so-
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that hard. I think I'm allergic to crack.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know, I have to rinse off too. So weird. So, yeah. Wow, how about standing desk? It's not high.
I'm gonna say, is it probably?
It's not high, it's almost. Yeah. They didn't anticipate. I heard. Really shout. You know the filter on this one. So you know how celebrities have a first kid and, you know, Chandler decided to start. Line up with his longer. But unfortunately, Chef.
That's Jana.
Hey, Rich, you got a minute?
Yeah.
Delivery planners.
They were so cute. They're one of my neighbors is on the farm. Yeah. So like the little boy goes to work. It's like, oh, we're gonna see over by all of them.
Oh, shit.
So they were like running around the other. Asking, man, I'm gonna see on this day, you need to go forget it. Just the things that you do. But I'm I don't know. Like from the front, it looks like.
Passing on patient.
Oh. No, that's going to be the city after.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
See, wait a minute, that thing.
Do you have a house?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. In the last. Oh.
Yeah, my daughter decided that. I don't know what I did to him. She's her. I don't know what he wants. Yeah, they just decided that, it's fine, but. Just like my, even the, both cousins. But actually. Kids. They both, each have 2 kids. No, 2 kids, both of them, both. The young boy, they don't know. So the other one, they just started, they had the first baby, so they grandchild. So I mean, yeah, that's it. You feel dependent. Well, couldn't get her to go, so she found it.
Oh. Thought it was coming from that, but.
Shut off.
Well, mine rang for the first time this morning in the office and I thought I changed my ringer on my phone, but it was the office
Oh, the
phone.
office.
Yeah.
You guys heard from Barry or anything?
I have not. I just looked on my phones and he said he had the morning clear. He was cleared his schedule.
That's what I seen too.
Yes.
You have a good drive.
Morning.
Good.
Good to see you guys there. We're doing good.
Hey man, how you doing? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
Good one. It has been.
But yeah.
Hey, they're waiting on the county attorney. They'll take you up first. I'll pop that. Swam. Cool.
Yeah.
Sure, sit in.
All sorts of things going on.
Texting him.
Yeah.
Okay. Fortunately, it's not a long walk.
Right. Probably gonna send it. He's
No,
gonna
he's
come
not as
right
young
up.
as he used to be.
That's true. And he admits that openly too.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, tell you where to park.
I just parked across the street. When I was in law school, I worked over at Arthur Crane, off the eighth, so I'm
Very well familiar with
well familiar
downtown.
with the area, yep.
How long has it been since you've been here?
Well, I think the last time I was here was maybe 2 years ago. We were helping the city of Manhattan, so I had to come down and meet Katie Jackson. But prior to that, I mean, it's probably another 2 years before that, so.
Very. Oh, yeah.
I knew it as soon as I was gonna send that text.
Jacob Beetle, but.
Very good to see you.
David wants Jacob in there, so we might want to add.
You go ahead and write it in there.
Yeah.
for me. If I have a pen. Here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no, something comes up, always drag me out.
How you pronounce that?
Eulenberg?
Yeah.
We're gonna include both of them on this
Okay,
one.
both.
Yeah.
Jacob. Yeah, Jacob too.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and start. Okay. I'm gonna move that the county commissioners, including Chairman McKinley, Vice Chair Foki, and Commissioner Ford, with Jacob Hansen, interim county counselor, attorney for the commission, Barry Wilkerson, county attorney, and David Cooper, and Jacob Bielenberg of Fisher, Patterson, Saylor, and Smith, recess into executive session pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and the open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 11:35 a.m.
I would second that.
Been moved and, excuse me, been moved and seconded for the county commission to recess into executive session for reasons previously stated under the attorney-client consultation exception of the Kansas Open Meeting Act. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Really hot.
Commissioners, the meeting is live.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded for the Board of County Commissioners to come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye. I'll also move that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
I second that.
Been moved and seconded, the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
That's the upcoming one here. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to move that the county commission, including Chairman McKinley, Vice Chair Foki, and Commissioner Ford, with Jacob Hansen, interim county counselor, attorney for the commission, and Barry Wilkerson, county attorney, and Jacob Bolenberg of Fisher, Patterson, and Smith, recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act in order to discuss the personnel matter involving a county counselor, office employee, specifically to the search for the hiring of temporary outside counsel to supplement the county counselor's office, and to protect the privacy of the employee. The open meeting to resume in the commission chamber at 12:05 PM.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded for the county commission to recess into executive session for reasons previously stated under the non-elected personnel exception to the Kansas Open Meeting Act. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, commissioners, the meeting is live.
We still have to wait.
I think so, don't we? 12:05?
Yeah, you gotta make a motion.
Yeah, at 12:05.
We have to
Uh-huh.
wait. We have to wait.
I don't know where that bridge is. Is it somewhere over in Europe, probably?
Yeah.
Buildings. look-
Brussels.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Looks like it.
That's fine, yeah.
That's my guess, Brussels.
Probably right.
Yeah, because those buildings are very European.
Budapest, Hungary.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. I was pretty close.
Yeah.
All those used to be separate towns. One was booted, one was west, whatever, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then they became one.
I didn't know.
I think this.
It's where half of my heritage is from.
Yeah.
Really? My dad. Oh. Interesting. Okay, we're at 12:05. You wanna-
Okay, I'll make a motion. The Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I also move the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in the executive session.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with consensus reached in executive session, all in favor?
Aye.
That's it for me. I don't have anything else to add or share today.
Me either.
I'll make a motion then that we adjourn the June 5th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
One second that.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the June 5th meeting with Riley County Commissioners, all in favor?